Welcome to my channel Ayaz Tech. In this video I am going to show you that how to install SSL certificate of Let's Encrypt on your WordPress website using Docker Compose. I will use DigitalOcean to set this up. My name is Ayaz Zafar and I am full stack web developer with more than 8 years of professional experience. Let's start with our new project. So first of all, I would create a Docker Compose file. Please note that I am considering that I assume that all of you already have Docker installed in your computer, and you should also have Docker Compose installed already. So please, before following this course, please make sure that you already have Docker and Docker Compose working in your computer already. So after setting these things up, you are ready to follow this course. So I created a Docker Compose file, and in this file we will add all of our services and things that we need to run this Docker Compose. So first of all, I will add version. This version is the version of the Docker Compose syntax, I think. So here you will add all of your services that would support your project. So my first service would be WordPress, and second service would be MySQL, and third service would be NGINX. So in the third service I would use Let's Encrypt image of Docker. So let's complete the first service, and here I will add the image name WordPress 5.2.2 PHP 7.3 version. So here I have added the name of the image that I would use from the WordPress. So let me show you how to get this image name. So Docker Hub. In the Docker Hub you have to search for WordPress. Click on WordPress, and here you can see all of the tags that you can use. So it's up to you that whatever you want to use. I would like to use the latest version of the WordPress, so I chose 5.2.2, and I would like to use latest version of PHP, so I selected PHP 7.3 Apache. So this section is called tag. So let's proceed. I will set the container name WordPress and restart policy always. So with this restart policy, if somehow your container is stopped or crashed, it would automatically be restarted. So you don't have to go to your server and restart manually. You don't need to do that. It would automatically restart that server. So that would make things a lot of easy for us. So next thing is depends on. So as you know that WordPress cannot work without MySQL on your server. So it depends on MySQL. So I have added MySQL, and to keep this container alive forever, I would use these values. Next, I would create volumes. So first of all, I would create a folder here, source and I would mount the root folder of HTML with our source folder so that we can preserve the data of WordPress files. So next we need to set some environment variables to make it working. For example, if you come here, you can see that these are the environment variables that we must have to set to make this container functional. So I would open another file .env and I will link this environment file with this service. So I have added the path of the environment variable file, and in this file I will use all of these environment variables like this. So it is asking for the WordPress DB host. If you remember, normally we write localhost, but in this case, as both of these containers are different, WordPress is would be hosted on a different container and MySQL would be hosted on another container. So as both servers, both services are not hosted on the same container, that is why you cannot use localhost here. But with the help of Docker Compose, you can access this MySQL service very easily. You just have to use the name of that service. If you want to communicate to another service within the same Docker Compose, then you would just use the name of that service. So here, instead of using localhost, I would use MySQL and it would work. So after that, in MySQL section, I would add some properties like this: container name MySQL. You can write any name. These are just user-friendly name that you can read from the console if you want to check which containers are working. You can write any name here, but I'm just adding meaningful names for these containers. After this, I would add volumes, and here I would like to create another folder called Docker. So this folder would contain the files related to Docker, and in this file I would create a folder called MySQL, and I would create another folder in this that would be called data, and another folder that would contain the configs. So the data would persist the data of MySQL, because whenever you turn down your Docker, the entire container can be removed, or if you remove your container, your data should not be removed. Okay, so that is why we are persisting our data using volumes. So Docker data would be the Docker MySQL data, and in the default in the official MySQL image container, the path of the data is var/lib/mysql, and now I want to create a file called my.conf/cnf, and I'm mounting this file because so that I can have control on the configuration of MySQL. In this way I can easily just modify configuration from this file, and these configuration would take effect in the container automatically. You don't have to go into the container and change the values or configuration from there. But also that is not recommended, because if you remove the container, then all of your configurations would be lost. But if you mount that configuration file like this, then even if you could delete the container, your configurations and your data would remain there without any loss. So first of all, let's mount this file, mysql configs my.cnf, and I would mount it with the file inside the container. So as whenever container would see that this file is mounted with this path, then it would consider this file. It would not create its own file. It would just reuse this file without creating a new one. I already have got the default code of my conf file. I would copy that from here. So you don't have to worry about this code, that you don't need to think what is written inside of it for now. But this is just the default code that you need to provide for the MySQL server to work properly. But after installing and running everything, in future if you need to change anything about MySQL, you just go inside this file and add your configuration here, and it would just work perfectly. So that's all. Next I would add ports. So I have exposed the port of the container 3306 and linked that port with the port of your system. So you can access that MySQL service through this port on your own computer. And next I would add the name of image that you would use from the Docker Hub. I would just type it here, MySQL, and in the tag I would add the version of the MySQL, and I would add the restart policy. That would be always, so that it never crash. In case it crash, it would restart automatically and fix everything for you magically. And here I would like to add the environment file. This would be the last option. I would not run this at the moment. Okay, I did not complete the environment variables. I would add the remaining environment variables of WordPress. Here you have to add the name of the database user that you would create in your MySQL server. I would create WordPress user, and you have to provide the password of that user. I would just use ABC for now. You should not use ABC password because this is not recommended. This is not a strong or secure password. You should write a very complex password here to avoid any hacking. But for now, for the demo purpose, I use the very easy password, but you should not do this. After that, you have to provide the name of the database in the MySQL server. I would create a database with the name WordPress. I think that's all that we need to do about the WordPress. After this, I would add the environment variables for the MySQL server to make it work properly. So for that, I would open MySQL image from the Docker Hub, and here these are the tags you can use. I used this version 5.7, and find for the environment variables. These are the all environment variables. I would use this one. So by default MySQL creates a root user, and I would change the password of that root user and use my own password. And this is the database that it would create by default. So whenever a MySQL container is created, it would create a database by default. So in case if you provide it the name of that database, so I would provide the name that would be WordPress. This name and this name should be same, because this is referring to this one, because as here you are saying that you want to use the WordPress database, you want to use the database with the name WordPress. So that is where the database with the name WordPress should be existed in the MySQL server already to make that work. After that, you have to write the names of the user which are required to run the WordPress. So as we are going to use this user, so I will copy it and paste it here. Similarly, about the password, I want to use the same password. So what's next? I think that's all we want to use. You can check other things if you want, but these are all that we need for now. So instead of uploading it online on DigitalOcean, first of all I would test it in my local machine to see if it is working fine for me. If it works in my machine, then it would definitely work on the DigitalOcean as well. So let's see. Let me show you how to run this. Open the terminal. Terminal should be opened within the same directory, same root directory of your Docker Compose file. So here I would run Docker Compose up -d. I would not use -d because -d is for detached mode. If you don't want to see the progress, then you would use detached mode, but I would like to see the progress behind the scene. So this command would automatically build the images and create the container. You can see that it created the MySQL. You can see that it started from the MySQL service. It is not taking care of the order we created in the file. It did not start from the WordPress. It started from the MySQL. The reason is that we said that we want to run WordPress service only if MySQL is functional. So it would start MySQL first, as it depends on MySQL. After installing MySQL, it would start work on the WordPress container. So I would pause it for a moment to complete the download. Alright, now it is downloading and installing the image for the WordPress and Apache. Alright guys, download has been completed. Now containers are being created. You can see that WordPress is, you can read that it is saying that WordPress not found in this folder, so it is now copying the WordPress. Let's see it. Okay, you can see that this folder was empty before, but as we have mounted this folder with the HTML folder inside the container, that is why every file that was copied in that HTML folder is also visible within this source folder. So actually these files were downloaded in the source folder, and this folder was mounted to the HTML. So So even if you remove the HTML folder, even if you remove the container, everything of that container would be removed, but this folder would stay there. And here you can see the MySQL logs. It is creating itself. Let's see if it is database initialized, and WordPress connection refused because it is MySQL database was not ready yet. That is why it is saying that connection was refused. So let's see. Alright, here you can see, for example, it is saying that MySQL ready for the connections. That's mean MySQL is ready, and as MySQL was as WordPress, as we have set the policy restart for the WordPress, so WordPress was restarting again and again and looking for the MySQL server until it get the proper connection with that. So as soon as MySQL was ready, it could communicate with that MySQL server, and it then worked and installed the WordPress properly. Now WordPress is ready to use. So one thing I would like to change here is that, or maybe we don't need to change. Let me check. No, actually you have to mention the port. I'm not going to use the 80 port, so I have mapped this port with the 80 port of container. Now I would restart the entire system. So I pressed Ctrl C to stop the process, and I entered this command again, and let's see. Oh, so I think, alright, I think it should work on 80 port as well. Alright, as there was not anything working on the 80 port on my computer, so that is why this 80 port worked here. So this domain means 80. So 80 does not show up. So you can see that WordPress has been installed and working fine. I would just click title, username, password, admin, username, admin. Okay, install the WordPress. Alright guys, WordPress has been installed. Admin. Okay, so as now we can confirm that everything works fine with this file. So I will just upload all of these files to the DigitalOcean, and then I will reproduce everything like this. So first of all, I would remove all of the files that it has created so that I can copy easily. To reduce the file size, I would remove things I don't need it, because this would be recreated on the server as well. Okay, in the Docker you can see that in that data folder I created an empty data folder, and now it is filled with the data files of the MySQL. I would remove these. Okay, next step is to set up a droplet on the DigitalOcean. So So here I would create a new droplet for this purpose. In the droplet you just have to use the marketplace and select the Docker ready-made. You don't have to install Docker yourself, you can just select this image and it would prepare a VPS for you with Docker installed already on it. So I chose the plan, I will choose the minimum plan, and here I would select the SSH key of my MacBook so that I can easily access through SSH command, and I have typed the name of my droplet and just click on the create droplet. Let's wait for it. I would pause for a moment. Alright, my droplet has been created and it got an IP address. I would select it. Let's check if it shows anything there. As nothing is hosted on the 80 port yet, so that is why it is not showing anything. So I would use this domain colorsfocus.com with this. So for that I would point this domain to the new IP address I selected. Actually, domains are located here in the networking. So here the domain for the colors focus, I would click in here. Alright, here in the A record you just have to change the IP address. So I would remove the existing IP address and I would choose this droplet. So now this domain is linked with this new droplet. Now focus. Okay, as you can see that colors focus domain is not loading because nothing is hosted there yet. And, we don't need the HTTPS. I would use a new session because there is some history with that domain. So alright. I don't want to show HTTPS at the moment. I would just use the Safari because it does not have any history with this domain. So now let's start work on it. I would copy the IP address of this new droplet and here I will go inside that droplet by using SSH command, SSH root at IP address. Yes. So now I'm inside the droplet that I just created. You can see that nothing is there at the moment. So I would create a new folder called project, and now I want to move all of these files to the project folder. So for that I would use the scp command of ssh. So scp, I want to move all of these files. So I want to move these files to the remote server at this location. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, it is saying that we have folders, so to transfer folder you have to pass the -r flag, that is called recursive. So this time it would work fine. Okay, all files are transferred to the server. Now let's go back to our server. Now I am going inside the droplet that I just created to see the file that I just added. So these are the files in the my DigitalOcean droplet. Now I can run the server now. Okay, it did not transfer the environment file, so I would go back and copy that file. I would just open another terminal here, scp.env, and I should pass it to this server. This is the path in the DigitalOcean droplet. Okay, file has been transferred. Now I can check if file is there or not. You can see that .env file is copied here. Now I can run the docker compose command to run these services. It is now downloading again, but this time it is downloading to the DigitalOcean droplet. It first downloaded the MySQL, and after MySQL now it is downloading the WordPress. It would be fast because it is on a high-speed internet. You can see from the logs it is now creating files and things. You can see it is saying that MySQL is ready for connection. So as soon as MySQL is ready, WordPress also became ready. WordPress installed the database things. Let's try here. I would just refresh the button. Okay, you can see that on the colors focus domain now WordPress website is working fine. I would just click on continue to install it, test, and here admin username, admin password. You should use a strong password, but I would just use simple password for this demo purpose. And after, you can use any email. Okay, WordPress has been installed on the new domain. Okay. Actually, because of some history, it is adding the HTTPS with it. I don't want to. I will just remove the cache for this domain. Okay, you can see that our WordPress has been installed on colorsfocus.com, and at this time it is not secure yet. Now I will work to make it secure. For that I would go back to this section. I stopped the server. Now all of the services are down, and now I have to continue work on the NGINX service to install Let's Encrypt SSL certificate. So here you would use the name of the image, and for Let's Encrypt, this is the image that I would use. In this case, actually I don't want to expose the WordPress port, because the traffic would not directly contact the WordPress service. The traffic would directly enter in the NGINX container, and NGINX container would then divert this traffic to the WordPress container, into the WordPress container. So 80 port would be given to the NGINX container, and you also have to pass the port for SSL certificate, HTTPS connections. Now you also have to add volumes, and here, like MySQL, I would create another folder that would be NGINX. And within this I would create another folder that would be site configs. Actually DNS config, and here I will create some files. For example, I want another folder that is config, and no, this is the file. I want to create a folder, and in this folder I will create a file. This file would contain all of the configuration of NGINX server, and Another file that I need is SSL dot. Okay, now I will just copy the files, the code from these files, because we don't want to go deeper with how NGINX works. I just copy these lines and paste them here. You just copy these lines and paste in this file, and this would just work. If you have knowledge about NGINX server, you can just read this and play with it. If you want to change anything, you can change from here, but you don't need to change anything to install SSL certificate at this moment. So just use this code. I will attach the GitHub repository with this YouTube video, and then you can copy this file from there as well. And next file is SSL certificate, so I would get code from here. This is the configuration that you want to use for SSL certificate. Just paste it. You don't need to understand what it says. Just use this configuration and it would just work. Next, one last file that we need to create is DigitalOcean.ini. Sorry. As we are using DigitalOcean, that is why we want to add the API token here, so that this can access DigitalOcean to verify things. Actually, I don't need this thing, because you would use DNS only if you are going to verify your domain using DNS plugin, but I am going to verify my domain using HTTP challenge, so I would remove this one. I would show what is HTTP challenge is. So that's all you need for now. So here in the volumes, I would link all of these files and folders like docker, NGINX, co and config, and here docker, so the path after this symbol, this column, is the path inside the container, and the path on the left side is a path in our root directory, in our project directory. So after this, actually you don't need this, I forgot. So that's all about the volume. Now I want to write the container name. Okay, in one thing I want to show you that you have to change in the NGINX configuration file. Here you just have to change one thing. I think here you have to add the name of the service, because whenever traffic enters to the NGINX container, it would create a proxy and it would forward that traffic to your WordPress container. So here you have to add the name of your container and the port inside of that container. So this is the thing that you have to remember. You have to use this name. Okay, so that's it. Next is restart policy. And now you have to pass the environment variables. Actually, you can check the Docker Hub as well to see all of these environment variables. The name of image is Linux server. Let's encrypt, select it. Here you will see all of the environment variables, configurations and examples. Just go there. This is the Docker Compose example. We just have to copy all of these environment variables. Okay, and here I will just change things. For example, I want to choose the domain name, colors focus, and subdomain is www. You can add more domain names here like this, a blog or portfolio, shop, store, or whatever you want. You can add multiple domain names like this, but I just want one domain, so keep it like this. And I think the best and easiest validation system is HTTP, because if you use DNS validation plugin, then you have to you have to create the API token in the DigitalOcean and use that. But this is the simplest one, and this is the better to use this. And we don't need these things, so remove these two lines. Email is also optional. You don't need to provide email, and only subdomains, no extra domains. Okay, so these are all the environment variables that you need for now. And what is staging? Staging is actually used when you don't want to upload for production. For example, you at this moment we are just playing around, we are just doing experiments because we are not sure if this works. We will just run it online and we would see if our configuration is correct or not. If everything works fine, then we would just change from true to false. At the first step, I recommend you to use staging is equal to true, because there is a limitation on production certificates. You cannot obtain unlimited certificates within specific amount of time. There is a specific limit of getting production certificates in specific amount of time. So I would recommend to use staging true, because this would not create a real production certificate. So this would just create a fake certificate, and you can just check that to see if your configuration is correct. If your configuration is 100% correct, then it would just create the fake certificate. And if fake certificate is created, then that is the proof that you have added everything 100% correctly. So after you are 100% sure that you have completed everything, then you can just change from the true to false, so that it can again install the production certificate. So let's continue from here. I think that's all you want. I would just now copy all of these files to the remote server. scp -r. I want to copy all of the files of this current folder, so that is why I added /* and after that you have to add the server where you want to pass these files, and then you have to provide the path of the Droplet or your remote server. Okay, actually you don't need to upload all of the files. Oh, actually I added these files, so that is why I just pass on all of the files again. That will replace the existing files on the remote server. Okay, all files are transferred. Now just to make sure, I would see the content of the Docker Compose file. Cat docker compose.yaml, and here you can see that NGINX settings has been added. So now I am ready to start it. Docker compose up. Now it is downloading the image for the Let's Encrypt and installing it. Okay, I think there was some internet connection issue, that is why it was stopped. So okay. Okay, you can see from here I'm checking the logs of the NGINX container, and you can see that it is showing you all of the progress. You can see that it just used our configuration here, and then it created a certificate, and after that it is saying that congratulations, your certificate and chain has been saved at the location. Okay, now you can check if your certificate is added or not. I just refreshed the browser, the page, and now I will see. Maybe internet issue. The internet is working. So what is the issue? Let me see if all of the services are working or not. Okay. Okay, one thing that you can see, that as you remember, I removed the port 80 from the WordPress container. We don't want to give it we don't want to use that container directly. We will not use this container directly. We are hitting this NGINX container directly, so all of our traffic coming to the 80 port would then redirect it into the container. So all of that traffic would be transferred by the NGINX server into the my WordPress container. So I did not stop the container, so it was WordPress container was using 80 port, that is why it was not working. So I would just docker compose down, so it would just stopped all of the services, and then I would restart it. Okay, now let's try. It is still not working. Okay, I just realized one of the big mistake that I did here is that I used the wrong port for the HTTPS. So for the SSL, the port should be 443, not 433. So I would just fix it like this. Alright. Now I will stop the server. And I would copy this file again to the server. Okay, now I will restart the Docker Compose services. Okay, it is working now. You can see that it is now showing a warning that your connection is not private. This is because it has installed the S certificate, but that certificate is fake because we intentionally uh, set the staging variable to true. So it did not use the original production certificate. It just created a fake certificate. You can see that it is saying that fake. So this is just for testing purpose. Okay, and as you can see that it is now working. That is why we are now ready to use production certificate. So also if you want to see it is working, it would still show you WordPress website, but it is showing you not secure and a red color signal here. I would just go to this file and I will change from true to false. Okay, now we are really close to complete this. Okay, now I will copy this file again to the server, to the DigitalOcean Droplet. Okay, file has been copied. Now I will restart. But before this, I would make sure that I want to remove all of the configuration files of the NGINX server. Okay, so for that I would go to the Docker folder, cd NGINX ls. So these are the files that which were created automatically by the NGINX server, NGINX container. So because I have mounted this folder with that container, so that is why these files are visible here. Now I want to remove these files because I want to use production certificate, because if I try to rerun the server, it may not work fine because it would find these files then it would not install the production certificate. It would just reuse the existing certificate from here. So if you want it to reinstall the certificate using production, then you have to remove all of the existing files, because these are just for fake certificate. I'm going to remove them all like this. Okay, all files are removed. Okay, now you can do docker compose up and watch the progress. Okay, you can see that it is now showing that staging is false, and it is saying that this is going to take a long time. So as this is a production certificate, so this will take some time and it would properly create the certificate for you. So after waiting for some time, you would see the progress, and you should see a message that would say that certificate is installed successfully. So let's wait for some time. I will pause the video. Okay, there is some progress I can see in the screen after this. So it is saying that congratulations, your certificate and chain have been saved, and everything is ready. It is saying that server is ready. So you just have to go back here and you just have to refresh this page, and this should become green. Or it did not work. Why? The certificate is saying valid, and why it is saying? Maybe this is the just cache. So I will just remove all of these tabs. Okay, now it is working fine. You can see that now there is no red error here. Now it is showing you lock icon, and it is showing you green message that is saying connection is secure, and it is saying that certificate is valid. If you click on the here, you can see that this certificate is valid and its expiry date, and you can see all of the other information of the certificate here. So your certificate is now ready. Okay, and you can also open w.as well. Okay, so the benefit of this image is that this container would automatically renew your certificate, because this certificate expires automatically after some time, after a few months. So before it expire, it would automatically be renewed by this container. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to manually renew the certificate, because this container is going to take care of everything by itself, and it would renew your certificate every time automatically. So this would be very helpful for you. So I think this is all for now about installing the SSL certificate on your WordPress and in DigitalOcean. You can use these configurations on any cloud provider, but DigitalOcean is a very good option and easy to use for most developers. I will upload all of these files to the GitHub repository, and I would share that link with you in the description of this video. So I think that is all for now. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe my YouTube channel, and also don't forget to click on the bell icon if you want to receive notification about any new videos upcoming in the future. Thank you for watching my video. See you later in the next videos. Bye.